Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse, Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Jumping at liberty to music, making our Morgan horses our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles area. Semi on the big steps. Morgan horse Sadie doing obstacles rainlessly. Sadie learns to pull a cart. Miniature zebu heifer Susie learns to drive a cart. Bull Rusty learns to pull a harrow. We begin to train mini zebu heifer calf Seela. Of our grassroots training of Seela, Susie's mini zebu heifer calf. Now Seela is about 16 days old. She's had so far a wonderful existence with her mom Susie and her papa Rusty, who is still kept separate by a fence till Seela gets a little bigger and stronger. And we observe Seela all the time. She romps around like a kid. Susie talks to her, sometimes romps with her, sometimes we think she's telling her to calm down. We're not sure, we're anthropomorphizing, but there you go. There's Seela, looking really good, strong legs, seems to love life. And look at us with all our tools here, trying to get so that Seela will accept us human beings as part of her herd. Rosie's going to pick them up as I mention them. Now we've got, pick up the toilet brush and we'll talk about it. We haven't used it yet, but last time we tried to wash off Susie because she was a little bit dirty under her tail after the birth. She didn't seem to want us to get too close to rub with our hands, so that's just a clean new toilet brush that's like an arm extension. However, we noted today that Susie pretty much has cleaned herself. On the left side of her tail, she's pretty clean. On the right side of her tail, it's a little bit disturbing. It's been 16 days, and this may be normal. She is dripping a little bit of blood. You can see it. And we don't know whether there's something going on inside, or is that just the typical cleansing process after birth. It's hard to find vets around here that can answer questions like that. I do have one vet who came out the night that Seela was born who does know cattle, and if this persists, I will be calling him. But what else do we have? Well, we have garbage can lids in case Susie starts to get aggressive with us again. They're like shields. Rosie, can you raise up the lariat? Now that's a kid's lariat that we use to put around Susie's horns. It's a very lightweight, short lariat, and it seems to work if we want to keep Susie confined away from whatever it is we're trying to do, or close to the hose if we're trying to wipe her off. And then, Rosie, the fly mask, which we're not yet ready to put on, but I have bought a miniature horse fly mask, and I've sewed it wherever I could to make it smaller. And so far, our August weather here in Santa Cruz is pretty cool. And you can see today in the mid-afternoon that there aren't a whole lot of flies on Susie or around Seela. We keep Susie's fly mask on day and night during the summer because it's pretty hard to put on and off like you do with horses. Seela, we just haven't put it on yet because we don't want that to in any way interfere with her suckling. And Seela does do a lot of suckling. I watch her on my cameras. I have 3 or 4 cameras here where they hang out day and night. I keep heat lamps on yet at night so I can watch them. There are a few flies on Seela, but not covered with flies. So we're not going to even try to put the fly mask on yet. Okay, and Rosie, the 2 possible halters. There's one blue webbed halter, which is actually a sheep halter. And it's, what do you think? You see how you can make it smaller just by pulling on the lead line that goes under the chin.
Yeah, that could be good. It can get pretty small. It's a sheep halter, huh?
Yes. I don't know that there is such a thing as a mini zebu halter. So when Susie was tiny, I got that sheep halter, and it was very helpful to us the first few months while she was growing big. So we're going to maybe try that as we continue with our training of our heifer calf. But then there's another one. It's a string halter. Can you grab that? It's a yellow string halter that a fellow that used to work for me, who had sheep all his life, designed for me. So it's not web, it's rope. And it also can be made smaller. It's a little bit tricky. You put it around the nose and around the ears, and you can lead the livestock with the lead line. You see how that works?
So the nose goes on there.
Yeah. So Rosie, which one do you think we'll try the first time when we try?
I would say the web one, because it's easier to get on and off and easier to adjust.
Okay.
And also, I don't know, if she ends up pulling away from us, the fact that the rope one is narrower might put more pressure on her if she's like, you know, pulling away.
And we don't want that at this point.
No, I think that would be too stressful.
I mean, even though that's the wrong answer, we don't want to stress her out. We want her to be able to grow up here as happy as she seemingly has been. And yet, we, you know, after 16 days of leading her life pretty much unencumbered by human interaction, we think it's time to sit around with Susie and Seela and start trying to make friends and trust relationships. About a week ago, some acquaintances of mine were sitting here with me at the picnic table having burritos. And little Seela came right up to the female that was with me. Her name is Ginger, and Ginger reached her arm out and petted little Seela on her head, and Seela was fine on it. But if I try to approach her, she does run from me. And that's what the first sign of change that I'm looking for. When I approach her, I don't want her to be afraid of me or run from me for whatever reason. So, Rosie, can you man the camera here? And I'm going to approach her and just show baseline behavior. Is she going to run from me? Is Susie going to attack me? Does Susie think I'm going to be attacking her baby? Because Susie, while she is normally a very, very calm and friendly heifer, has become very protective of her baby Seela. So just follow me along here. If she runs, she runs. We'll know that that's the way she is today on her 16th day on this earth. Let's go, Susie. Let's go, Susie. I'm grabbing a carrot for Susie. By the way, Seela does try to eat some of the hay and the grass that's growing in the ground here. but I really haven't seen her swallow anything. Seela. See, now Susie's walking away. I'm going to walk up to them, but I'll venture to guess that they're going to scurry away. Why don't you stop the camera and come and watch me as I walk towards them? Okay, there they are, Susie and Seela. I'm going to walk up to them. They live here during the day, during the light hours. They're comfortable here. I walk through the yard sometimes, but I usually don't take the time to approach them like I am now. This is the baseline behavior that I'm going to have to deal with about getting their trust. Let's go, Suze. I've got carrots. Will she come towards me? See, I'm trying to entice her here with carrots, and she said, no way. And I know Susie. If it wasn't for Seela, she'd come towards me for that carrot. So we're going to stop the camera again and go on the other side of this structure and see if it happens again. Then we're pretty sure that that's in fact what's going through Susie's mind. Take my baby away from this human being. Okay, there they are on the other side of the structure. I'm walking towards them. I'm trying to show Susie the carrot. I would venture to guess that she's going to escort her baby away from me. Come on, Seela. Come on, Seela. Absolutely. Baseline behavior is, come on, little one, stay away from those bipeds. So we're going to go back to the picnic table and see if we can get Susie to sit with us while we feed her a carrot. And then maybe Seela will approach us. Okay, now I'm sitting at the picnic table. I'm not eating burritos, but Susie and Seela are walking away. And we're not gonna leave the camera on this entire time, but what we're gonna do is sit here and visit with each other. And if Susie and Seela walk towards us for whatever reason, we'll turn the camera back on and let you know. See that Susie and Seela are watching us, but they're a distance away from this table. And we'll watch them and see if they choose to walk towards us. And we'll let you know if they do, and if they don't, we'll let you know too. Okay, Rosie and I were just sitting here talking about other projects in our lives, and look who came up after about 10 minutes and said, okay, I know you guys have some more carrots, and look who else is here. So you know what? We're gonna start doing things out here. Maybe every day. I'm gonna bring my laptop out and do some wireless computer work. I'm gonna make it so that I'm an item in this backyard that's been Seela and Susie's place for the last 16 days to romp around and enjoy life in open space here in Santa Cruz and grow up. And we're going to say, okay, humans are part of that life, you guys. And then we'll start putting restraints on them and trying to get halters on them and trying to lead them, trying to get the fly mask on, especially if it starts getting really warm here in the next few weeks. So we'll show you our progress. This is called natural bovine training rather than natural horsemanship training. And I'm just using the same principles because I'm sure that they apply to cows or horses. Cows are a little bit different in nature, and I'll constantly take their nature into account when I deal with getting their trust and compliance. And that's all for today. I'm Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl, www.urbancowgirlchannel.com. We show you our turnout plan, then Seela watches Susie get her front hooves trimmed. In about a month since Seela was born, I spend a lot of time out here on this picnic table, just hanging out, doing my computer laptop work. Susie and Seela spend a lot of time in this yard. As a matter of fact, in the mornings, they're waiting at their cow pen gate for me to let them out here in the yard. They come down that corridor, which you can see along the right side of that building. And in anticipation of letting Susie and Seela join Rusty for some monitored grazing in the near future, when I feel that Seela is big enough to move fast enough to protect herself, let me show you what I've done. And this was at the recommendation of a friend of mine who used to have a cow farm in Chile. He said, make sure that when you turn them out, that little Seela has a way to get away from Rusty. And so here's what I've done. Now watch. I'm going to open that gate that you just saw me open. And we've put some rail holders, we call them removable rail holders, on each gate post. This 2x6 that's hanging here, this wooden 2x6 on my vinyl fence, hanging here for now, is going to be hanging in this gateway. When we do execute my planned event, we're going to open the gate, let Susie and Seela out with Rusty. You see, Susie's still a little bit excited. She really wants to go out there, and I knew it all along, all these weeks. I knew that she wanted to be with Rusty, but she also wants to be with Seela. And my concern is Seela with Rusty, because I believe Rusty will assert himself. I really don't think he'll hurt Seela. But I want Seela to have a way out if he does run after her, because that's her reaction to stress, is flee. So when that 2x6 is across this gateway, it has been placed in such a way so that Seela can come under it, but Rusty and Susie can't. And we'll be watching for sure the first few times we do this, and we'll let Susie back in with Seela and keep Rusty out if there's any question in our mind that this is not a safe thing to do yet with Seela. Okay, we have made a plan. Rosie's going to go get a garbage can lid in case Susie gets a little bit rushy with her horns. This is the first time we've tried to put her cavesson on to trim her, and we're only going to do a little bit of the fronts. So we've got our kids' rope, we've got the cavesson. They know Rosie very well. We're doing it in familiar.
Do you have any carrots?
Yes, I have carrots in familiar territory. Here comes Lawrence. We don't expect Seela to go running as soon as the gates open, not without her mom. And her mom has a lariat around her horns. If you can move back for just a minute. Lawrence, who has a lot of livestock experience, including with cows, is just making sure the baby sees that he's not a big monster. You see how he's going down on his knees down to her level. He doesn't want to be his full height because the baby might consider him a monster.
Good girl.
Let's see if Susie will let us trim those hooves. Lawrence told me as we were getting ready for this that horses, mares that have just foaled, do the same thing with their front feet. They tend to eat a lot of rich food, and their feet grow a little faster and get dished faster. And there we go. We've moved the camera so you can see better that Lawrence is trimming the fronts. Susie's being unusually calm. The baby is shaking ever so slightly. You can see her tail kind of shivering. But you can see where she's standing, very close to her mom. All we have to tether Susie on Susie is the kid's lariat around her horns, with the garbage can lid in case Susie were to get aggressive with her horns. Although they're not as big as Rusty's horns, they can cause damage. They are pointed, and they are designed to do damage when she chooses to use them that way.
And you know, it's not even so much the horns for me. It's just like having something that acts like a visual barrier. So if she is like just running around and acting wild, if I put this in front of her face, it'll stop her.
Okay, now I'm not sure you could hear Rosie because she doesn't have a mic on, but she's saying it's just the visual barrier of the garbage can lid, which seems to be helpful.
I'm not worried so much of being gored.
She's not so much worried about being gored.
Oh.
It's it's just a visual block, which can be a very, very powerful tool in both horse and cow training. I am really looking forward to showing everybody and to challenging myself to train Seela, Susie and Rusty's baby, similar to the way I've trained Susie and Rusty. And many past zebu shows will show you everything I've done with them using natural bovineship methods, which is very similar to natural horsemanship methods, only keeping in mind that you're working with a bovine and not a horse. Boy, that left front hoof looks good already from this point of view. I am very, very sensitive to dished front feet, as that is a bad sign for a possible precursor, as many horse people know, to laminitis. And cows can become laminitic. They're a little stronger, a little more resistant to it, but it can happen, especially if the angle is wrong. Looks much better to me, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay, and now he's going to very carefully move around, with trying not to scare Seela, and she's on the other side of a post, so you may not see her, but she is shaky. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to just going to let them out in their backyard and leave them alone today. And let them calm down. Because remember, not only is Seela a baby, but Susie, nope, not willing to lift the back foot long enough for him to do the trimming. Susie is milking, so I don't want to interfere with that process. How about if we just do the fronts today, Lawrence, and the backs next time you come in 3 weeks for the horses? Okay. That was maybe a good plan, but...
Well, she was being so good.
Yeah, she was being good. We thought we were okay. See how Seela stands close to her mom. All of this is so new and threatening to her.
Girl, Suze. All right.
Like squeezing the others when I pick up those lines.
Yeah.
Lawrence thinks maybe he was squeezing the udders when he was picking up the back foot. Could be.
I wonder what she's being so good.
When I watch Seela and Susie on my cameras from the house, I can see that there are times that Seela comes over to Susie and says, I want to suckle, and Susie says no. She keeps moving her hips over. But there are times when Seela comes to Susie and Susie does allow her to suckle. And on the other side of the coin, Susie sometimes goes and gets Seela up and says suckle and gives her the teats. So it's all a matter of, I think, pressure on her teats that will help decide whether or not Seela will get her nutrition. But as you can see, based on how Seela looks today, about a month after she was born, she's getting plenty of good nutrition from Susie's milk. We're very, very grateful. As a matter of fact, there are times when I watch Seela eat hay, but I'm not sure she's eating it. She just kind of tastes it. And I keep in my pocket little pieces of carrot like this. So when Seela comes up to me when I'm sitting on the picnic table, I offer it to her. And she's very, very curious. She smells it. She kind of nibbles at it, but doesn't yet take it. And I know she has erupted teeth, but I'm not going to force it on her in any way because I don't want her to choke on it, as little as it is. I want her just to learn that carrots are yummy.
Oh, easy now. Easy now. Easy, Suze. Keep your balance there.
I'm asking my cameraman to zoom in on Susie. Excuse me, on Seela. She gets shaky, and then she's not shaky. Now she's in the shade, so that could be, or she's also away from her mother, so that could be the reason that she's shivering. We can't be sure. We wish we knew what was going on in their minds, but we just try to watch body language to help us decide.
Oh, easy, easy.
Lawrence, I'll grab anything for you. Just call me over. I'm staying by the camera so I can
Your babe's right there.
monitor and explain.
I know.
Almost done with that right front, and that's going to be our interim success objective today. You see how she's shaking? Can you get that? Stan? Stan's my cameraman today. See, she's just, her ears are back. Seela's watching what's going on here. She's licking her lips. That's, in horse world, that's a good sign. It's a sign of relaxation and understanding. But what does it mean for a cow? They're similar in nature to horses, so I'm trying to perceive that body language sign as a good sign. And I have a feeling, I'll try to watch when I'm all done with this ordeal, and I turn them back out in their backyard. I have a feeling that after they've had a little time to rest and recuperate, that Seela will go for the nipples. I'm not sure if we're going to trim Rusty today. Probably not, because for some reason, probably because he is a bull and moves around maybe more than the heifers do, he doesn't seem to be dishing in any of his hooves, so we don't have to trim him as often. Although we have created a special trimming area where we can control him, both head and tail, head and hips, and do really good trimming when we do hitch him to our trimming area. And that's probably one of the reasons we haven't had to trim for several months, because the last time we did it there, and we were able to do a really good trimming. That looks good to me, Lauren. Should we call it quits?
Yep.
Okay, and that's all we're going to do today.
Mellower than usual.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I don't know if you could see it on this side, right by her flank, she really started trembling.
Susie or Seela?
Susie.
Susie. Oh, okay. All right. They're both kind of stressed by all of this, but you know, we had to do it. And we had to know what we're in for.
The earlier action, that's pretty good.
Okay, and Susie has had her first trimming after the birth of Seela. That's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. www.urbancowgirlchannel.com. In subsequent shows, we will be documenting our ongoing training of mini zebu heifer Seela. Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Demi, and Lotus. Rusty and Susie. www.thesokolows.com.